Very good afternoon to everyone. I think we have discussed a lot about inclusion, with respect to banking, what technology like blockchain can do. And it's now for insurance to take the role, and we'll see how embedded can actually build the future of insurance in India. So, India as a country is definitely, an under-insured place. We have a general insurance penetration of less than 1%, and life a little over 3%. And where the protection gap, or rather the coverage gap in India exists, and how embedded can be a road to actually deliver the solutions over there. So with that in mind, I would really like to discuss on how the potential of embedded insurance can be unlocked in a country like India. And with that, my first question to Prasad is, how can digital platform and fintech companies leverage embedded insurance to enhance customer experience? I believe it's one of the critical aspects today, and definitely how it can also drive the financial inclusions in a country like India.
Thank you. Even in the previous panel, we heard a lot about the primary target for embedded finance being access to credit. Right? There was a lot of discussion about access to credit. Now, most of the ecosystems, the marketplaces, or so most of the ecosystems and marketplaces that are available today are mainly providing an access to credit as part of embedded finance. Now, while embedded insurance has penetrated mostly for small ticket items, okay, so where you can have an insurance while booking, say, Ola cab, right? So those kind of small ticket insurance has come in. It has not penetrated to a larger ticket where there is a point of sale need for an insurance. So the digital platforms, so even where we work with a large set of marketplaces, aggregators, ecosystems, even ONDC-based ecosystem, which bring together a lot of different parties, the digital systems enable the financial institutions to provide not just credit, but also insurance. So when we talk about credit, there is an immediate need for trade credit insurance. And today, trade credit is mostly an offline process. It's done through banks and the insurers at an offline process. And at that point, the insurers rarely have any access to details about the actual customer, right? So this problem that insurers face while selling this as part of an ecosystem or through a direct digital sales is lack of information about the customer, right? So this results into problems. So one is that most insurance customers are single product customers. So almost 90 or more than that, 95 or more customers of insurance companies have only one product from them. And this is because the insurers rarely have any information or a customer profile where they can keep them engaged over a longer period to sell appropriate insurance. What the digital ecosystem with respect to marketplaces or aggregators provide is a better customer profile, number one, right? So the insurers have a larger amount of data, larger amount of information about the financial profile, the identity, the employment, if it is an employed, if it's a salaried segment. These details help them provide a better insurance product directly at the point of need rather than later. This also helps them continue the engagement with the customer over a longer period. With the availability of these open APIs, like we have certain open APIs which have come into this segment, helping the embedded finance, right? So you have ONDC and OCEN, which has enabled open access for credit While individual tech companies, including us, are working on an open layer where not just credit, but also insurance comes as part of the open API. I feel going forward, this open API, along with the availability of the data, is what is going to drive insurance in the embedded platforms. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you mentioned about appropriate insurance, right? So the point of sale, what the customer is actually buying, what product from the third party offering, and what type of insurance is actually embedded or attached to that product is very much important for the customer's accessibility, right? So moving on to the next question for Hemant. What are the key challenges and opportunities in scaling embedded insurance within India's digital economy you see, and how can stakeholders collaborate to overcome them?
Okay. So I think there are three parts to this question. One is the challenges. The second is the opportunity part, and the third is the collaboration, right? I mean, I don't want to be very, very theoretical, and want to take one case study of one of our client. And this client is called Samunnati, and they are a unicorn now, and they are into agriculture sector. So they are doing forward-backward linkages, working with the farmer producer organizations. So while implementing embedded insurance, I mean, the key challenges which we faced, right? Obviously, everybody today spoke about customer awareness and trust, right? So that's the big challenge. Customer says, okay, against what I pay the premium, in lieu of that, what am I getting? Because in case of term insurance, आप कैसे समझाओगे? Because the premium you are going to get is after your death, right? So that is one. Second thing is, in case of hospital insurance, the thing is like, I am not ever going to get a dreaded disease, or I'm not ever going to get hospitalized, or a very over-optimism kind of feeling, I mean, while I talk to these customers. And I'm talking about this underserved segment, which we spoke in the earlier segment as well, the 400 million kind of segment, which is 30% of the population. There is a feeling like Apunish Bhagwan hai, kind of feeling is there, right? I mean, nothing is going to happen to me, so why should I buy insurance? So that's the customer awareness part of it. The trust part of it is, okay, I buy the premium, and then will I get, what will I get? I mean, will my nominee get the premium, or the sum assured out of it? So there is a trust factor element there. So that's the first point, the customer awareness and trust, which everybody spoke about. Second thing is about the integration part of it, the technology integration, because when we are talking about embedded insurance, we, Bimaplan as a technology service provider, want to integrate with the platform providers. So let's say if I have to talk about FI in that case, or any fintech company for that matter, the challenge in front of the product manager is that in a fintech company, should I be integrating the APIs of my core banking solutions first? That is what is core to me, right, in terms of feature functionalities to be added. Or should I take insurance, which is an auxiliary, ancillary kind of product? So product roadmap mein, where will it come up in terms of priority? So that's the biggest, that is another big challenge which we have seen in terms of embedded insurance. The third part obviously is the data protection and privacy, because when we say embedded insurance, we are talking about data being flowed, customer data being flowing between the platform providers and the insurer, right? So the data framework, governance, the data protection regulations, all has to be complied with. So these are the quick three challenges is what I see. In terms of opportunities, obviously the increased reach to the customers. We have already seen solid use cases which are very successful. Something like accident insurance provided along with on the IRCTC website, right? That's a very great use case, scaled up use case. The second use case is Make My Trip providing travel insurance, or ride sharing apps like Ola providing trip insurance. So these are the, so basically the benefit of embedded is it provides you the great reach, right? Which otherwise was not possible. The second is maybe the customer experience, which we provide in terms of instant policy issuances, digital claim processing, so and maybe the understanding the customer preferences better, so that products can be curated and designed according to the customer segment. So that's the second opportunity which I see. Third is the product innovation. And I was talking about the Samunnati kind of product, wherein we are providing insurance product to the farmers, which are curated for them, and they come at a cost less than 100 rupees kind of premium for a year. And the products are curated like vector-borne diseases, snake bite kind of things, or electric shock kind of things, which are very, very relevant and contextual to these farmers, right? So those kinds of products are co-created along with the client and along with the insurers. These are not generally would be available off the shelf. So I think these are the opportunities, and this is how maybe the stakeholders can collaborate with each other. So kind of I'm joining both the answers there, and that's my take on it.
So Hemant, so you mentioned a couple of interesting points there. So in a country like India, when I'm buying a product or a travel ticket from Make My Trip, for example, so I would try to understand how, when I'm buying the product, how can I get an insurance on that if I'm really aware of that. So in such a situation or in such an ecosystem, all three of you also can jump in. Who do you think drives it? Is it the consumer driving it, or the insurer who is offering the policies driving this embedded insurance, this trend?
So let me go first here. So, see, if you look at, kind of visualize a pyramid, right? Tip of pyramid is a white collar or a business people who are well aware, educated, right? There you don't have a challenge to educate, because people are going to Make My Trip, they know what it is, and they are going to buy it. The bottom of pyramid, which is the below poverty line we are talking about, there are a lot of government schemes which are there, right? Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, which is covered under universal health schemes, right? So their distribution is already there. See, the challenge again is towards this, what we call it as missing middle, the 400 million population we are talking about. That is where the awareness challenge is there. And in case of Samunnati, if I have to say, again, in this case study, what we did was, we identified the, the entrepreneur kind of farmers, the bigger farmers, the FPO directors. We leveraged them and did something like train the trainer kind of thing, making them aware why it is required. And the truth is that insurance is a push product, right? So what is important here is to make them educate. See, in case this happens, this is what the benefit you get. And we drove it via the FPOs, and obviously using the business teams of Samunnati. So that is how we were able to create awareness, and then creating videos which were multilingual in nature. These FPOs are beautifully using, we in urban India think that people don't use smartphones there, but there are these 6,000-7,000 rupees smartphones available. These FPOs are communicating via WhatsApp a lot of these agriculture related inputs to these farmers. So we use those channels to create awareness of what is this product is all about, why it is required, what are the benefits, and so on. That's my take.
I'd like to just add to that. So Hemant spoke about the demand side of things when you talk about awareness and building awareness for the people for whom the insurance is created. But the way I would like to look at it is embedded insurance is essentially extremely contextual, and I think everybody spoke about that. People at large understand insurance to be life insurance, health insurance, motor insurance, maybe asset insurance. So the onus of innovation lies on the supply side, lies on the insurer to create the right product, let people know that, okay, these are also risks that you can insure. And once those products are in place, after that, I think that is where insurance becomes from push to pull. So equal ownership for driving embedded insurance also relies with product creation and creating contextuality to the journey where it is being offered, to the point of sale where it is being offered.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the major factor there would be pricing element in embedded insurance, because to make it more accessible and inclusive for Indian consumer in particular. One example comes in my mind is how Ant Financial has offered an embedded product in Alibaba's marketplace just for the SME sector. So it's not just the B2C, they're talking about the B2B element as well, to provide risk coverages worth just 50 cents for any sort of a business interruption risk. So that, and how they have actually calculated that price to actually reach the masses who are actually representing the middle class or the small and medium enterprises. So
see, just to add, here at India, right, we have seen that 35 paisa you get the insurance in IRCTC, right? That's the reach we can we are talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are something that we have to, work on.
Yeah, similarly, just I'd like to short addition, because you touched upon the SME part, right? So that is the major chunk of the underinsured segment, which is commercial insurance. In India, commercial insurance, in any general insurance company, it's mostly one of the smallest segments, right? So, which is hugely underinsuring the amount of customers that are there. The platforms that we have today, the networking platforms, even ONDC based, which has become an open network to enable these MSMEs to come into that, becomes a very good place as you mentioned, like product specific for these customers to be able to provide. And what helps in the right pricing is the availability of information, right? So you get better information about the entity, you're able to underwrite better and provide a cheaper premium to these insurers.
Yeah, absolutely. In India, of course, it's a developing market. And even in developed markets like the United States, 40% of the SMEs are not insured at all. So the opportunity is not just localized, the opportunity lies globally for the product it embedded. So moving on to Ankur, in the era of data-driven insights and personalized experience, we have also heard about this aspect in the previous panels. How can embedded insurance leverage digital technologies to create customized and tailored products and solutions for diverse customer segments in a country like India?
I think some of this has already been touched by the panel. So for example, the way I would like to approach this question is in terms of breaking down what are the current problems that our customers face today in insurance, right? One is the right product for the right customer. In a lot of places that is not available and the relevance for the customer. So a lot of mis-selling happens. Technology can help us arrest that. Second is making the comprehension of the policy better for the customer. A lot of people don't want to go in through the documents, understand what is included, excluded, etc., all of that. Conversational AI can help over there. The third problem is basically increasing the perceived value of the product. So for example, when you're pitching it to a customer, a lot of people feel it's protection. I am not going to gain something from it, and there's a huge drop-off. That to some extent can also be prevented by technology. And the final thing is improving the claims process, right, which is the final nail in the coffin to actually seal in the customer. Because you give a great claims experience, you've won the customer for life. So I'd like to talk about the first thing, which is the right product for the right customer, and would actually point out to what Prasad earlier mentioned with the availability of these data ecosystems like account aggregator or ONDC for that matter. It opens up like a plethora of information. I'll take a use case that, when we are looking at insurance, we actually have account aggregator data wherein you can actually look at the kind of spends that the customer has done because you can track their spending. You can also understand what ticket size the customer is spending on and the kind of categories the customer is spending on. So for example, if somebody is doing a lot of pharma transactions and you are able to map that with a certain level of accuracy based on your ML models, you can actually figure out whether health is the right offering for this kind of a customer or not. The second thing is you can actually whitelist these products for the right customer. So for example, in advance what customer qualifies for a certain product based on what is written in the policy document. For example, income protection, I know that's a plan that can only be offered to salaried users. So I can only whitelist the product for them versus approaching the whole universe, just to make it more relevant. And I think the third point that I would like to talk about in this one is the relevancy or innovation which Karn pointed out to. Basically, with the technology, InsurTechs have become more innovative because they can also take those bets to underwrite newer products. The cancellation for any reason on Make My Trip is a beautiful example. Income protection, again, is a very good example in the current job loss market. Right? All of this is possible because people are betting on the fact that, hey, you'll have data in the future and you can, underwrite things much better to be able to give it to the customer. The other thing is comprehension, right? Comprehension, basically conversational AI, generative AI. With a question and answer format, you can actually understand what works better versus not in the policy. Policy GPT is a great example. Plum is doing that. And it's super simple for a business to inculcate something like this, wherein you make the conversations more relevant for the customer and engage them more. So one is you've got a qualified lead, then you engage them more via conversational AI engine. And the way to do that is For example, Custom GPT. It's a B2B software which, customizes Chat GPT for you and builds the software for you on top of that to be able to offer a conversational AI engine. The other thing, which is the key point, like now you have a qualified lead, you've already engaged the customer via conversation. You also want to communicate the right value proposition to the customer. So when you talk about value proposition, it's not just the point of sale, but also how you communicate with the customer during their journey on an ongoing basis. And here there are three things, right? Writing the right price, the underwriting, personalized underwriting, which we already spoke about. The second thing is preventive, going preventive, wherein you actually preempt that there is a probability of claim and you alert the customer in advance. And third is utilization of the policy better. In the interest of time, I'll just take one example from each. So personalized underwriting, the reason it's possible is because one, you have so many data sources, then you can train your ML engines better, get an accuracy. Once you do all of this, you are able to create risk cohorts of customers. You have a risk cohort, you're not only able to map which new customer will fit into this risk cohort, you're also able to map what is the price sensitivity for this customer based on the ticket size, based on the kind of transactions that they've done. So it's very priced to a great extent, to a very granular level for a customer. That's a value add. And how do you go preventive? Preventive is when, so for example, Healthify Me, ecosystems like Healthify Me, they have a lot of information about the customer's health data. They know, what kind of health habits the customer has. They can actually sell health insurance, and at the same time, if there's a potential risk of a lifestyle disease, let's say I'm eating food outside, not eating the right calories, or not working out enough, you can come in advance and tell me that, hey, there's a potential risk, you might want to look at that. That creates a great customer experience because the customer feels that, hey, they are connected to me. And finally, the third thing in the value proposition is utilizing the policy more, wherein, let's say, again, going back to the account aggregator example, if I know somebody is spending a lot on, let's say, Apollo Pharmacy, I can go in, in advance and tell them that, hey, you have this OPD policy already active. Why don't you go ahead and, claim this? And I can support you further with the claims journey. So that helps the customer understand that, hey, the care, the provider is concerned about me. They're not just looking at the point of sale today. They're also looking at my journey in other levels as well, right? And finally, very briefly, we'll touch upon the claims part. Ease of raising claims has become super simple. The OCR technology that has gone from rule-based to deep learning models, wherein you can actually analyze pictures better and have customers just click pictures and upload onto your platform, and you do the whole processing for them. Second, again, conversational AI. You answer their question on the go. And third, ML engine actually tells you what is the probability that the claim will be processed. So right at the point of filing the claim, the customer has knowledge on what is the life of this claim, how is it going to look like. And fraud detection becomes much easier, right? Because again, when you're looking at fraud detection, you can look at one-off cases much better with AI by feeding that synthetic data into the system. Whereas it becomes much difficult when you have humans involved because they have to go through tons of data, there's risk of manual error, wherein when you replace it by a machine, you can actually fill in the right data, you can actually feed in the right data and get the right sort of output. So I think that's how all of these things will play a key role in engaging the whole, the customer in the whole ecosystem. That's where this whole tech lies. But there's just one caveat that I want to point out. All of this looks great, technology is great, AI is great. But at the end of the day, insurance is an industry wherein you look at 100% results. 90% accuracy doesn't work. So it has to be initially a combination of obviously human plus AI. As we sort of go ahead in this ecosystem, there are examples wherein companies have actually slowed down their AI strategy because they want to automate the basic use cases first and then graduate to more complex level use cases. So that's something that one needs to be really aware of when they think about this ecosystem and entering this. And I think the final point that I'd like to make is in the dream that IRD has pointed out that you want to make insurance for all by 2047, essentially it has to be a mix of both these things, right? I think tier 1 metro customers, great, AI works great, but eventually what Hemant pointed out, for the customers in the hinterlands, you obviously need to have a more human-driven approach because they are not yet that adopted to technology, and that will come with time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is certainly going to arm the movement, what we're trying to do through embedded solutions and products. Just quickly moving on to Karn, how can collaboration between traditional insurers and digital platforms be fostered to drive the adoption of embedded insurance in India, and what are the key considerations in forming such successful partnerships? What's your views on it?
So
when it comes to embedded, this is one place where collaboration between the insurer and the distributor, the digital platform, I think is the most important. You can have any other go-to-market by one of the two parties. Embedded is where both of them need to work together. And for any collaboration to sort of work really well for the entire ecosystem is for each player to understand the context of the other. So insurance companies need to understand the fact that for a digital platform, the user journey is extremely important. They need to understand the customer, not just focus on the product that they're offering. The platform needs to appreciate the complexity of the insurance product being offered, needs to appreciate that the fact it's a regulated entity and work within that framework. So as long as there is enough appreciation of each other's context, I think that lays the foundation of a good partnership between an insurer and a digital platform. The second point of, the other aspect of having a successful partnership, especially in the embedded space, I think is technology. Because embedded is 100% technology driven, you can't really have embedded insurance without an enabling technology backing it up. To make embedded successful, I think this has been repeated multiple times, that you need to offer the right contextual product at the right point of sale. Are you able to do that? You need to ensure that the way you offer the product is extremely frictionless, and which is true for any other digital product, not just insurance, but any digital product needs to be frictionless for the customer to adopt it. So to make embedded insurance scalable, it has to be contextual, it has to be frictionless. Is there technology available to do that? Can adequate data exchange happen in real time that enables the user to have a fantastic experience? If I were to sort of break that down, when you talk about contextuality, it is not just contextuality to the point of sale, it is also contextuality to the customer itself. So can technology identify the right contextual product for the right customer and offer a personalized experience to each customer on that journey? That's one way technology can help, right? On the other hand, since embedded is essentially a part of another journey that the customer is doing on a digital platform, for example, they're taking a loan or they're booking a flight ticket, at that point, not every insurance could possibly be offered in a manner where data is available. So just to give you an example, if you were to look at embedding a health cover in any journey, now the data available with any digital platform may not be enough. Either you take the easy way out saying that, okay, instead of a health cover, I'll embed a personal accident cover, or you use technology to ensure that you create a journey where the required data points can be collected. So keeping context and frictionless experience center of plate, and by understanding, I think, each other's perspective of importance between the insurance and digital platform, that can really help grow embedded insurance from where it is today to the next level. One more point actually I'd like to touch upon is what basically Prasad mentioned about using data better. So digital platforms have a ton of data. A lot of external data can be used, yes, but the digital platforms today know a lot about the customer. Can that data be used to underwrite insurance? Today, embedded insurance is largely pre-underwritten products being offered at the point of sale. Can we move away from that? Can we look at underwriting in real time? Can we enable exchange of information in a manner that the pricing and the coverages are personalized to the customer? As long as as long as the right product is being offered in the right way, I don't see any reason why embedded should not achieve the potential that we all hope it will achieve in the next few years. That's my take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned a very key point there, that one end of the spectrum is the frictionless efforts that you put in the solution. Another side is the customer experience. So yeah, so I think embedded insurance is going to be the future, and how it actually drives the journey towards getting better penetration for India is going to be interesting. So with that, we come to the conclusion of this panel. Anything you have to connect with this gentleman, we can do it at the end of the event. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.